Please rewind this cassette.
All right, guys, Pat here. I'm going to be looking at the Oscar nominations for the 2020 Academy Awards. This is a much earlier Oscar season than normal. The show is happening sooner, and the ballots were put in a lot sooner. So I don't think there was as much of the influence here as there normally would be from the Golden Globes or the Critics' Choice Awards or what have you, BAFTA, because the Academy viewers, the Academy voters, really didn't have a lot of time to see all of the movies. So I think these nominations are probably going to be reflective of that. There's a few big surprises here. For the most part, everything went according to plan. It went, to the Gold Derby standard. A lot of my predictions, a lot of other people's predictions. But for the last couple of years, I've been doing a reaction to Oscar nominations, doing my own little Gold Derby special here at Please Rewind. And basically, I don't have anything else to talk about on the channel right now. But if there's one major surprise across the board, it's how well Joker did. Like, Joker overperformed. I mean, everybody thought Joker was going to do well with nominations, but not only does Joker have momentum going into this to win Best Picture, Todd Phillips could win Director, although I think that's less likely, but I definitely could see Joker winning Picture now. There's a big deal with this because this is the first time that a superhero comic book movie like this has got nominated like this. Because if you remember, Dark Knight got 8 Oscar nominations, but was left out of screenplay, director, and picture. Pretty much got every other major nomination that you need. And then that was controversy. And so then they said, okay, now we have to nominate 10 films a year. We can't just put it in the 5 category because the film The Reader somehow knocked out Dark Knight. Then a few years later, Logan gets the adapted screenplay nomination, which is a big deal. And then Black Panther gets the Best Picture nomination, but doesn't get nominated in any major category. Doesn't get nominated in director, screenplay, any of those. It does win 3 Oscars, but they're all technical Oscars. Although I don't think that movie deserved any of those nominations. But it was like, here, Kevin Feige, here's something. Fuck Infinity War, the much better movie. But this movie is the first one to get all of the nominations across the board, to get the screenplay, to get the picture, to get the director, to get the actor. This movie got 11 Oscar nominations. It's the most nominated film out of this. A lot of people would have put their money on The Irishman, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, or 1917, all getting the most Oscar nominations. And they all got 10. So they were pretty fucking close. But yeah, somehow Joker, which I guess mainly is because it was nominated in sound mixing and sound editing. When I read this morning, I go, how the fuck did Joker get 11 knobs? Because I was going through my head. It's like, okay, that means it must have got director and screenplay and all that. But where else did they nominate it? Like, did they give it, like, special effects or something? Because I knew they would probably get production design and film editing and cinematography nominations. But Joker's a weird one. This is a film that came out of Venice with great reviews. Then the reviews drop significantly. I mean, if you look on Rotten Tomatoes, I think this film has 69%, and it's only got 59 on Metacritic. Then it becomes this huge hit that makes like $1.1 billion, and all these people love it. It's got a high rating on IMDb. And then during the award season, it just keeps getting nominated over and over and over again. You're like, what? Todd Phillips is getting nominated for a DGA? Todd Phillips, like the guy who made The Hangover and The Road Trip and Starsky and Hutch and Old School. And here we are now at the Oscars, and it's got the most nominations. So that's the biggest story of this, is Joker has arrived. Whether you hate the movie, you're mixed on the movie like me, you love the movie like a lot of people do on YouTube, it seems, and on film Twitter, as they call it. It is the film that I think, I mean, I still think right now 1917 is a front runner for Best Picture. I think Sam Mendes is a front runner for director, only competing with Bong Joon-ho, possibly Scorsese or Tarantino. I don't think Todd Phillips can win Best Director. That doesn't mean Joker can't win Best Picture, though. In fact, I think this is a great sign for Joker. So let's look at the nominations. I don't give a fuck about Deadline's article. In fact, recently Deadline's writers have just been doing really awful things, like writing really terrible things, like defending the movie Cats, and then saying that Greta Gerwig's Little Women is way better than the 90s version, which was a snore, even though the 90s version of Little Women is an amazing movie. So I don't know what the fuck. I've just been reading a lot of Deadline lately, and there's been this fucking smarmy bullshit. So Ford v Ferrari got in there, which was losing momentum for a while. The James Mangold movie, and James Mangold is nominated in here for being a producer. So that's a big deal. It felt like this movie was getting pushed out. Mangold at one point, it felt like he was going to get Best Director nomination, but here you go, Best Picture. The Irishman obviously got a bunch of nominations, although I think its chances of winning have really declined over the last few weeks as it hasn't been winning anywhere. Jojo Rabbit, which is another film that got mixed to positive reviews and didn't really perform well at the box office. This film's only made about $22 million domestically, yet everyone loves it. This is a weird one for me, like, because if you go like read reviews from people who loved it, they loved it, and a lot of people are calling it one of their best films of the year. But this movie did not do well at the box office. I would say it did very mediocre to poor. I don't think they made a lot of profit off of this movie, and yet it keeps getting nominations. I don't know if it's just a thing for Taika Waititi. It's just a celebration of his other movies as a collection over the years. But then where was this love for like Edgar Wright? I don't understand it. So there's Joker, Todd Phillips, Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper got nominated. Holy shit. Little Women, which was able to slip in there. Fucking Amy Pascal gets her Oscar nomination. What people say Sony, a few years ago, everyone used to tell me, like, oh, Amy Pascal's not involved with Sony anymore. Then why the fuck is her name on this movie? Marriage Story, Noah Baumbach and David Heyman, who produced, oh shit, David Heyman's nominated twice here, who produced the Harry Potter films. And the Paddington films, he's on there. Ooh, sorry about that. And then 1917, you got Sam Mendes being nominated, some other producers. Then here's David Heyman again on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Quentin Tarantino, which I don't believe Tarantino was nominated for Best Picture for Django or Inglourious Basterds, but he got the nomination here, and this is his first film without the Weinsteins in that recent run. And then, of course, Parasite, which Bong Joon-ho is also nominated. So this is a big deal that all of the directors, for the most part, are included in these nominations as producers, including Scorsese. Look, there's De Niro. De Niro gets a nomination, and a lot of them were nominated for screenplay too. This doesn't happen very often. So directing, we have Irishman, Joker, 1917, Once Upon a Time, and Parasite. Pretty much what everybody thought. The fifth slot was always open. It was either going to be Todd Phillips, Greta Gerwig, Noah Baumbach, Taika Waititi. But I was pretty confident it was going to be Todd Phillips. But everyone else, I think, was a lock at this point. You knew it was going to be Tarantino, Bong Joon-ho, Scorsese, Mendes. Right now, I would say Mendes is the front runner with Bong Joon-ho. Although I think Tarantino has a shitload of momentum going into this, and he's never won director. He's won 2 screenplay Oscars, so this could be his year. With the preferential ballot, it's tough to know because it's not the number 1 votes. So somebody weird could win this. Like, people might vote for 1917, but then somehow, Tarantino might be able to get in there with more number 2 votes. That's the tough part. So we have actress in a leading role. Cynthia Erivo did get in for Harriet, which a lot of people wondered if she would. Scarlett Johansson, of course, Marriage Story. This is her first nomination. Never nominated for an Oscar before. Very well deserved. Saoirse Ronan for Little Women. Obviously, she's going to get nominated every time she's in a movie like this. Charlize Theron got in for Bombshell, playing Megyn Kelly. And then Renee Zellweger, who's currently the front runner for Judy. Although I think that Oscar is open. I think there could be a surprise here. Actor in a leading role, Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory by Pedro Almodovar, which this is his first time being nominated. I was pretty confident he was getting nominated. Leonardo DiCaprio, Adam Driver, Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix is obviously the front runner. I'm shocked by the Jonathan Pryce Two Popes nomination. I was rooting for Taron Egerton for Rocket Man. As you know, if you watch his channel, I loved Rocket Man. And he got the nominations across the board, and he won at the Golden Globe, so I figured he was in, but they just gave this love to the Two Popes at the end of this all. Like, Anthony Hopkins got nominated, too. So I love Jonathan Pryce. This is a great performance. I'm just disappointed. I wish Taron Egerton had got in there. If I was actually picking the winner here, and Joaquin Phoenix didn't have this locked, I think Adam Driver deserves this. And I think that argument scene and the being alive singing scene, I think Netflix hurt these movies. I really do. I think if this movie had been in theaters, it would have been a hit. Because watching Marriage Story, I was like, wow, these are two big actors going at it. This film's so compelling. They get these big dialogue scenes. They get to go at each other. And then all that stuff went viral. I feel like this could have been a sleeper hit that made like 50, $60 million and become Noah Baumbach's biggest movie, and more people would have seen it. Instead, it's kind of like lost on Netflix. Um, The Irishman had all this hype, but I think it affected these movies' awards run because people just it was late for people to catch on to this. Because I think if most people, if you watch it, you could. I think a lot of people are leaning towards Adam Driver, but it's Joaquin's year, so. And the movie made $1 billion, and it's pretty much entirely because of him. Leo is not winning, and neither is Jonathan Pryce. I wouldn't rule out Antonio Banderas being the surprise here, but I think that's very unlikely. Actress in a supporting role: Kathy Bates, Richard Jewell. A lot of people didn't have her on their list. Laura Dern, Marriage Story, is the front runner. Then ScarJo gets nominated again, her second Oscar nomination for Jojo Rabbit. Jojo Rabbit. Florence Pugh for Little Women, and Margot Robbie for Bombshell, which Margot Robbie obviously is going to get nominated a lot now. I really feel bad that the actors from Parasite and The Farewell just got ignored across the board. Like, I really think Sung Kang Hao, is that his name? Sung Kang Hao should have been in supporting actor. I think the mother should have been in supporting actress. I think she gives a much better performance than most of these performances, especially like Scarlett Johansson and Jojo Rabbit. I think, but she was in the Avengers and all that. She has a lot of momentum this year. The kid in Parasite, I think, should have been. I mean, I'm really upset about the Parasite thing, that it just got ignored. Actor in a supporting role: there is Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks did not get nominated for Captain Phillips, which was a big one, and he didn't get nominated for Sully. He didn't get nominated for Saving Mr. Banks, but here he is, Mr. Rogers: A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, one of my favorite movies of the year. He got in here, although I feel like he knocked out some really good actors that probably deserved a nomination more than Tom Hanks. Anthony Hopkins for The Two Popes. Al Pacino and Joe Pesci, who are going to cancel each other out. I feel like Al Pacino would have had a really good shot at this Oscar if it wasn't for Pesci getting in there too. And then, of course, Brad Pitt, who is the clear front runner. He has won an Oscar before for 12 Years a Slave, for Best Picture, but he's never won an acting Oscar. And this would be awesome because I love Brad Pitt. I love Brad Pitt in this movie. Adapted screenplay: The Irishman, Steven Zaillian, who wrote Schindler's List, Searching for Bobby Fischer, Moneyball. Jojo Rabbit, Taika Waititi. Todd Phillips and Scott Silver on Joker. That's crazy Scott Silver got an Oscar nomination. Little Women, Greta Gerwig. And Anthony McCartan for The Two Popes, which The Two Popes got a lot of love here. There he is, Ryan fucking Johnson. A hit movie, 265 million worldwide. They're going to make a sequel. The Rise of the Skywalker hasn't even made $1 billion yet. It's one of the worst reviewed Star Wars films, and here we are with Ryan Johnson. So, I have a lot of problems with Ryan Johnson, and I don't love this movie. And I don't. But what are you gonna do? Ryan Johnson is riding a high right now. You can't deny it. He had another acclaimed film. Here's his first Oscar nomination. It's making money. So, if you hate Ryan Johnson, this is just like a fuck you from him to you. He is having a very successful career. Marriage Story, Noah Baumbach, who, great screenplay. He hasn't been nominated since The Squid and the Whale. 1917 was shocking nomination here. Sam Mendes and Christy Wilson Cairns. Obviously, Tarantino gets nominated as per usual. And then Parasite, which I think should win, obviously, by Bong Joon-ho and Han Jin-won. That's the best original screenplay of the year. But I feel like they're going to probably give it to either Tarantino or Marriage Story. But I would love if Parasite won foreign language film director and original screenplay. That would be my dream across the board, because I don't think it's going to win Best Picture, because no foreign language films ever won Best Picture. And if Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon couldn't do it back when it was like the most acclaimed movie of that time, then this can't either. But it would be cool to see that. And then, maybe something like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, 1917, gets Best Picture. I don't know. Cinematography: The Irishman, not well deserved. I don't agree with this nomination at all. I thought that the cinematography to Irishman, while good, was not phenomenal. And it wasn't even showy. Scorsese wasn't even approaching it as that kind of movie. Joker, this nomination was been locked all year, although I don't think the cinematography is great as people are making it out to be. The Lighthouse, it's cool that got in there. Obviously, Roger Deakins, 1917. He's the fucking front runner. And the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Robert Richardson, which I think was a very well shot movie. Parasite not being in here pisses me off. Parasite had far superior cinematography to Joker and The Irishman. I don't even think it's fucking close. The cinematography is one of the keys to why Parasite's so brilliant. You know, just these beautiful wide shots that are just gorgeous and beautifully composed and lit, and the camera work in that movie is absolutely phenomenal, far superior to a few of the movies on here. It felt like these just got cinematography nominations because they're best picture films, and I'm very disappointed. I'm not saying Joker didn't deserve it, but if it was me, I would knock Irishman out of here. I put Parasite on there. Original song, I Can't Let You Throw Yourself Away from Toy Story 4, Randy Newman. I can't let you throw yourself away. I'm Gonna Love Me Again from Rocket Man, Elton John. I'm Standing With You from Breakthrough, music and lyrics by Diane Warren. Into the Unknown from Frozen 2, of course, by Robert Lopez. Good old Bobby Lopez. And Stand Up from Harriet. Original score, Joker, which has a good shot at winning. Little Women, Des Platt always gets nominated every fucking year. Randy Newman for Marriage Story, that's really cool. Couple Randy Newman. Thomas Newman for 1917, I think there. And of course, John Williams gets his generic nomination for his score. You know, there was nothing great about the score to Rise of the Skywalker. The only great moments of the score were motifs from other Star Wars movies. That's it. But every time John Williams does a score, they fucking nominate him. They nominated him for fucking the other Star Wars movies. It's like, quit nominating him for reusing his old music and then not coming up with anything new. I mean, I guess he had the Rey theme and Force Awakens, but what the fuck? Why is he in here? This is such bullshit. He doesn't need another Oscar nomination. Like, I don't like this at all. And you ignore a good score for a movie like Uncut Gems, which was a great score, very unique. Uncut Gems just got shut out across the board here. No love for the Safdie brothers. Adam Sandler, no nomination. Cinematography, sound mixing, which I think it really deserved a nom for. The sound mixing is one of the best things about that movie. But instead, it's like, here's John Williams. Documentary feature, American Factory, The Cave, The Edge of Democracy, Orosama, Honeyland. Documentary short subject, I don't care. Live action short film, I don't care, even though they're playing them here at my local art house theater. Animated feature film, How to Train Your Dragon 3, Claws, which I knew was going to get in there. It's the guy who did Despicable Me, the first one, and he made this film. And it's one of the best animated films the last years, but a lot of people missed it because it was on Netflix. I Lost My Body, Missing Link, and Toy Story 4. You'd have to think Toy Story 4 is the front runner. But I have a good feeling Claws could come in here and be a surprise winner. I feel like there's a lot of love for that film. Skipping animated short film. Film editing. Okay, for the most part, these nominations are pretty solid. Ford v. Ferrari, I think phenomenal editing. Jojo Rabbit, that's a weird one. Joker was always going to be in here. The Irishman. Thelma Schoonmakers, of course, she's going to get nominated. No love for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I was wondering if this was going to get knocked out of editing because it doesn't actually have a lot of cutting and editing. Tarantino lets things play out in long takes and stuff like that. Not to say it doesn't have good editing. And then, of course, Joker, and then Parasite, which, if it was me, Parasite would win this. But it's probably going to go to Ford v. Ferrari or The Irishman. But if it was me, I would go with Parasite once again. I know I'm getting all this love to Parasite, but from a technical filmmaking standpoint, if you don't like the screenplay to Parasite or the story in that, that's fine. But, you know, from an editing, cinematography, production design standpoint, Parasite's like a masterwork. It's world class. But I feel like, yeah, it's either going to be Ford v. Ferrari or Irishman's going to win this. But yeah, this is what kept Once Upon a Time from getting that 11th nomination, was not getting the film editing nomination. International feature, Corpus Christi, Honeyland, Les Miserables, Pain and Glory, and Parasite. You'd have to go with Parasite being the front runner, although Pain and Glory might be the upset here. Production design, obviously Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, 1917, Hollywood, and Parasite. All of these were locked. It's a competition between 1917, Irishman, Hollywood, and Parasite. I'm going to knock Hollywood out of this. So I'm going to say either Irishman 1917 or Parasite. If the Academy really loves 1917, it's going to win. Like if it wins Best Picture in that, look for wins here. But I think Parasite has a great shot at this. The production design, that house that's the majority of the film takes place in, that's really one of the key factors to the movie. So I would love to see Cho Won Woo to win this, because I think the set decoration is absolutely phenomenal, and I think the production design by Lee Ha-jun. Sorry if I'm butchering the names, but to me, Parasite is clearly the best out of this, maybe with 1917. Costume design. I think Jojo Rabbit has a good shot at this. Usually they go with the period piece like film. I mean, Jojo Rabbit is a period piece, but they go with something like Little Women. And Joker could win this, or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This is actually an open competition, but I think Jojo Rabbit has a really good shot of winning here out of these nominations. Although, don't be surprised if Little Women or The Irishman sneak in there. Visual effects, Avengers Endgame, The Irishman. I don't think those effects were that great, but okay, fuck it. Let's nominate The Irishman for those effects. Lion King, which could probably win this. 1917 and Star Wars Rise of the Skywalker. So I guess it's going to be between 1917, Lion King, and Avengers. I don't think Irishman's going to win this, even though Hugo won Best Special Effects a few years ago with Scorsese. Or they'll give this Avengers Endgame because it's the highest grossing film of all time, and this is the only Oscar they can give it. Because they gave this movie no love across the board. Makeup and hairstyling, Bombshell, Joker, Judy, Maleficent, 1917. I think Joker and Bombshell are the front runners. I think this might be the Oscar Bombshell gets because they like that movie. Although don't be surprised if Joker gets this either. Sound mixing, Ad Astra, Ford v Ferrari, which I think it's in a good spot here. Joker, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This is probably going to go to 1917, I would assume. And then I would say sound editing is probably going to go to Ford v Ferrari. Whereas, yeah, I don't think Joker 1917 or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or Star Wars have a chance in this. I think 1917 is the best, but Ford v Ferrari is probably going to win editing, and mixing is probably going to be 1917. Which just makes sense. So nominations by film. Joker is at 11, Irishman's at 10, 17's at 10, Hollywood's at 10. Jojo Rabbit got 6, did very well. Little Women got 6, no Best Directing nomination for Greta Gerwig. Marriage Story gets 6 nominations, mainly because 3 actors were nominated. Parasite has 6 nominations. I think it was snubbed in cinematography and film editing. I don't believe it got the film editing nomination, although it might have. But snubbed in cinematography for sure. And I'd say a couple of acting nominations. I think Parasite should have performed better than this and got 8 to 9 nominations. Ford v Ferrari got a little bit of love at 4 nominations, although I think James Mangold's directing is superior to that of Todd Phillips. Bombshell gets 3, Star Wars gets 3, which is less than Last Jedi's 4, and less than the 5 Oscar nominations for Force Awakens. So this continues to be the least successful film of the new trilogy. Two Popes got 3 nominations, Harriet got 2, Judy got 2, Pain and Glory and Toy Story 4 come in at the bottom. So there you have it. Those are the Oscar nominations. I guess Jennifer Lopez getting locked out didn't totally surprise me with Hustlers, because that's not an Academy movie, but she was getting a lot of love. And I always liked J-Lo as an actress. I just thought that she was in a lot of good movies for years. I guess people are probably surprised by the Two Popes love. I think people feel like there's some sexist thing with Greta Gerwig because, once again, no female nominees in Best Director, although I think that's a bullshit argument. I just don't think a lot of females made the best directed films of the year a lot of the time. That might be something more who they hire to make movies in Hollywood. I think people might be a little surprised just how well the Joker did. Everybody thought Joker would get like maybe 8, 9 Oscar nominations, but the 11 is huge. That's a great sign for that movie. So the way I see it, Best Pictures between 1917 Joker and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's my eyes. So I think if Tarantino wins director and screenplay, look out for that for Best Picture. If Sam Mendes wins Best Director, there's a good chance he can win Best Picture here. But I could see Joker getting actor, picture, because I could see Joker getting those number 2 or 3 votes with the preferential ballot. So I could see Joker getting picture, actor, makeup, hairstyling, and something like score and getting 4 Oscars, while 1917 could get director, cinematography, production design. And then Parasite could get screenplay and foreign film, and then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood could end up just getting like Brad Pitt and maybe costume design. And then something like Jojo Rabbit, I think, could get shut out here. And Little Women, all you really have is Laura Dern. Although I think in another year, I mean not Little Women, Marriage Story. I think in another year, Marriage Story would have like been able to win Best Picture. And then Little Women, I think, yeah, I costume design maybe, and then Ford v Ferrari, I think, can win sound editing. And then I don't think Bombshell's going to win anything. I don't think Star Wars is going to win anything, and I don't think The Two Popes is going to win anything. Although if there was a surprise, it would be an actor winning in the two. It'd be like Anthony Hopkins. That would be a surprise. Um, Toy Story 4 could win Best Animated Film or Best Song, and Pain and Glory could actually win Foreign Language Film. It'd be a surprise because there has been surprises in that category. Some weird ones. Uncut Gems completely ignored. Didn't get any nominations. I thought at least they would nominate it in like sound mixing, and so I didn't think it would get Best Picture and all that. But that's a weird one, and yeah, it's just kind of generic. It was like the main movies nominated. The top 5 are all the movies that we thought were going to be nominated. Like everybody knew coming in 1917 and The Irishman. But I think if Sam Mendes can keep the momentum going, he has a good shot here. Although this could be Tarantino's year. It feels like everyone wants to give him Best Picture, Best Director. And he didn't get it for Pulp Fiction, and he didn't get it for Inglourious Bastards. And they might just give it to him this year. Although I think this Joker thing, it's hard to ignore it, isn't it? But Netflix got the most nominations by studio. They have 24, which mainly comes from The Irishman getting its 10 nominations. And what was the other film? Marriage Story did well, but there was another one that they released that got a bunch of nominations. Can't remember. Oh, The Two Popes. That's right. That's Netflix. Then Sony got 20. Huge year for Sony. Disney's on here with 16. Warner Brothers has 12. Universal has 11. All the major studios did here. No love for A24. Neon got 8. Fox Searchlight got 6, which that's mainly like Jojo Rabbit. And then Lionsgate's on here with 4. That includes Knives Out, Focus Features, and LD. So huge year for Netflix. It feels like it could be the first time Netflix wins something, but no streaming movies won Best Picture yet, and I don't think it'll happen this year either. I don't think Marriage Story or The Irishman are going to win. I think it's going to go to Joker, 1917, or Hollywood. So, yeah, there you have it. Those are the nominations. It's a competitive year because you don't know who's going to win yet, and we really have to see how the DGA and the Writers Guild and the Producers Guild plays out. But as of right now, I would say if you're placing your bets, put your money on 1917. But if Joker wins somewhere in the guilds, if it wins like Producers Guild or something, or if it, look out for Joker. This is the tough one. Joker could win Best Picture, which I know sounds fucking crazy, but it's just because of that preferential ballot that Joker has a really good shot at Best Picture. And Tarantino, I think that's the competition right now. So look out for that. I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be a weird one. I feel like Joker or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is gonna win Best Picture here. Any other year, I think it would just be like 1917 or The Irishman. Best Director, I would love if Bong Joon-ho won, but I feel like Sam Mendes has got a good shot here. And when it comes to actor, you'd have to go Joaquin, supporting actress Laura Dern, supporting actor Brad Pitt, and of course actress, you'd have to go through Renee Zellweger, although I think there could be an upset there. And then when it comes to original screenplay, it's going to be between Tarantino and Bong Joon-ho, although Noah Baumbach could win. And adapted screenplay, don't be shocked if Joker wins that, but I feel like Steve Zalian has a really good shot with The Irishman. So there you go. Those are the nominations. Tell me what you guys think in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys after Oscar night. See how close we were. Put your predictions in the comments, and then we'll look later and see who was right.